Ladies and gentlemen, Jared Taylor, a man of many things. He's an Airbnb host. You are a superintendent. No. What are you?
Essentially the same as a principal.
Okay. All right. Principal. You call it a dean of a career center, which is adult and children, or are you just in charge of? Okay. So you're just in the thing. You're an avid mountain biker, avid workout enthusiast. What else we got? Farmer, excavator.
We got chickens now.
Oh, you got chickens now.
Hey guys, while we're paying the bills, let's talk about one of our oldest sponsors that's been with us since the beginning. Geiger Brothers. Geiger Brothers is headquartered in Jackson, Ohio, with offices in Columbus, Ohio, and Knoxville, Tennessee. We provide construction services in Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, and Tennessee. A veteran and dynamic staff of talented people, symbolic of our 100-year history of success, gives Geiger Brothers a distinct advantage. Leveraging that experience for our customers allows us the ability to provide consistent and superior performance for their construction, engineering, and fabrication needs. And hey, we've had several of these guys on our shows. Scott Massey, Kyle Hickey, Shay Meredith, just to name a few. Go back, look through some of the old episodes and get to know them. It's a great group of people that have been with us for a long time, and we certainly appreciate it. So enjoy tonight's show, courtesy of Geiger Brothers here in Jackson.
So you go to Franklin Furnace. How long are you at Franklin Furnace until you start into your full teaching? When did you go from there into a public school system?
So I went from Franklin Furnace facility. They announced the shutdown of that somewhere around February, March of 2011, that they would be closing in September.
Oh, okay.
2011. So that was when Kasich got the governorship.
Okay.
And he came in.
Kasich, God, I forgot all about him.
So Ohio was in an $8 billion deficit. He became governor. And, that was his...
Strickland was before him, wasn't he?
Yes.
So you had Strickland, then you had Kasich. So Kasich comes in 2011 and just closes Franklin Furnace?
Well, he cut the agency's budget by $24 million.
Okay.
So that was about our annual operating cost.
It was $24 million.
Mm-hmm.
That was your annual operating cost. So he cut your budget just completely.
Yeah.
So what did they do down there? Just house? That was your education budget, or was that just?
That was the facility.
That was the facility budget.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still there now.
It is.
So what did they do? Just
last I heard, Scioto County, I don't know if it is using it for overflow for their jail or what they do with that facility now.
Oh, okay. I thought it was still youth.
Mm-mm.
It's not. Okay.
Nope.
Huh. I forgot all about Kasich. We are not getting political, but I just got a text on the way here today, or on the way to this pod. A guy from what is it? ADA or Ag, the grain bin.
Mm-hmm.
Is that called ADA?
Yeah.
Right. Something like, I think it is.
Well, no. You're talking about like
The mill.
Okay.
I get this guy was a grain broker.
Okay.
Of some sort. Just lost his job. Wife, 3 kids, making about 140 a year, 125, whatever. Gone. And the text, this was a text that I had got from a buddy of that guy's. Okay. And he was like, boy, it's going to be interesting to see how these politicians keep promises and maintain goals. Or,
sure.
Keep their promises that they made you, but get through these tough economic times that they're bringing on. I mean, I'm seeing it in my world already. But back to like Kasich and doing that. So Kasich cuts the funding, and that is in what year? 2011.
Yes.
So you drove that every day for what, 2 years?
Yep.
And that was probably through the summer too. There is no summer breaks in a boys' home.
We did 9 weeks on, and then we get about 2.5 weeks off.
9 weeks on, 2.5 weeks off.
It was a year-round school.
Okay. How'd you like that? That's been talked about a lot, really.
I liked it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's whatever you get used to.
Would you like that now, being that you're a summer off guy?
Well, I'm a 260 contract as an administrator, but I could get used to the year-round. Yeah.
You like that probably a little better.
Yeah.
Now that kind of cuts out on maybe some summer income
Sure. Yeah. For teachers.
for teachers.
Yep.
Yeah. Which I don't know a lot of them that are doing that anymore, but that used to be a pretty, I mean, there's still a handful, I'm sure,
Sure.
that mow grass or paint or
Right.
something. So, were you driving that from Jackson or River Valley?
So I was, at that time, I was living up behind Henderson's Arena up on Glade Road.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You were married at that time?
Yep.
You was already hemmed up.
It's about 45 minutes.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's, I mean, it's not a great drive, but
Right.
it's not. Did you go down 93 every day?
No, I went over 776, 335,
52.
52.
Yeah. Oh, that wouldn't be bad. Yeah.
It wasn't bad.
Heck, you're halfway there. So then you get out of there, and then where do you go to work first?
So I went straight to Buckeye Hills. Yep.
Been there ever since 2011. So you're 14 years deep this year.
Started teaching what they call ED, emotionally disturbed students.
Emotionally disturbed
Yep.
or disturbance?
Yep. What? Oh, yeah. SBH, they called it at one time, severe behavior handicap.
Okay. I've heard of SBH.
So I was in that unit for about 6 years, self-contained.
Uh-huh. So the role that you're in, so what did you teach there?
I taught all core subjects and some electives as well.
Do they do, whenever you say all core subjects, so for those of our listeners that don't know, Jared is at Buckeye Hills Career Center, which it's a high school, but it's a trade school, right? Or it's a career center.
Correct,
Is
yeah.
the proper term, but
Right.
I would call that a trade school. So, and bring me up to speed because I love this topic, and then we're going to talk about some mountain biking and some fun stuff.
Sure.
But let's talk about this Buckeye Hills. So as you become, whenever you're a child, let's take my son, your youngest son, Seth, right? Is your youngest?
Grant. is the
Grant's youngest. Do you have a Seth, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
oldest one's
Seth,
Eli.
Eli, and Grant.
Yep.
Okay. I need to learn those. But as these kids, they mature, they go through middle school, then they go into high school as a freshman. Okay. At that point in time, is that like whenever the merit clock starts as a freshman, or does that start at 7th grade in junior high?
So they start their cohort as a freshman.
What's a cohort?
So that's when the clock starts 4 years from the time they start high school. They need to be graduated and done.
Certain amount of classes have to be done.
Right.
Is that the cohort?
Right. Yep.
Okay, so English, math.
Right. Four English credits, 4 math credits.
4 English credits, 4 math credits. So is a credit a year?
Yeah, typically. Yeah. We
Okay.
do what they call a block schedule. So ours are ran by semesters. So
Okay.
they'll have 80 minutes of math. So we get them done in a half a year.
Okay.
But our schedule only allows for 2 academics in a day's time because it's a block schedule.
So 2 80-minute classes a day, hour 20-minute class. Is that typically your half before lunch, half after?
Sure. So they'll have a lab half a day, and then they'll have the 2 academics the other half of the day.
Okay, so as that freshman gets into high school, can that freshman immediately decide to go to Buckeye Hills as a freshman?
Sure, but typically they're going to have to wait till that junior year to come to Buckeye Hills, but they can make that decision, sure.
Why?
So we do have one program that's for 10th graders. It's called career-based intervention, but it's only a few. I think we're going to double it next year. It's going to be about 38 students, but the big focus would be that senior years when they come to us.
Okay. So, when they do come to you, they are coming to you on the path of a career, right? Like they're saying, okay, I want to be a welder. Okay, I want to be a diesel mechanic. Or
Right.
I want to be a hairdresser. Or I want to be how many career classes do you have?
We got 17 different labs.
Okay.
So, and we're set up in academy. So I'll give you an example. Transportation academy would be auto collision, auto service, and ag heavy equipment technicians.
Okay.
We got a health academy, human services academy.
What all's in the health academy?
So that's going to be, most of those students are going to get medical office assistant. They're going to get STNA, phlebotomy, A lot of times they'll run them through that.
Your
as well.
certificate stuff,
Right.
not your degree stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So whenever you say you have 17, is STNA, medical office, and phlebotomy, is that 3 of the 17? Or
Yes.
is, okay, so medical is not one of the 17. Right.
Right.
So you have medical, you talked about auto.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what else?
And we have a construction manufacturing, so that's going to be your welders.
Yep.
It's going to be commercial carpentry, HVAC, electrical, broadband, telecommunications. It's a new program we just started out this school year.
Okay.
And that kind of runs as a pipeline through our adult programming to do power linemen or telecommunications. So
Okay, so telecommunications, would that be your internet and phone?
correct.
Okay, is internet into that too?
Mm-hmm.
You talked about broadband.
Yep.
So are they learning like the frequencies and the fibers, and they're learning, or is that how they're what are they learning in that? Man, that just sounds intriguing.
That's the hard wiring
Okay.
and all that.
Into your boards, your circuits,
Correct.
and how to run it. Man, I bet you that would just be just tremendous. I mean, can you imagine learning that stuff at a young age?
Right.
So how many students are under you, I guess?
Our enrollment right now is about 570.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So now, will that kid go to your school all day? Will they come down there for the day? Or is this like a go to high school 2 or 3 periods and then jump on down the road?
So we offer them full academics. So our students are there the full day.
All of them?
Yeah.
All 570?
We do have a few. They'll do a half a day CCP
Okay.
and a half a day of career tech.
CCP is
College Credit Plus.
College Credit Plus. Okay. So they can get college credits down there with you.
Well, we have what they call CLEP courses on the campus,
Uh-huh.
and they can go in a course. They do 25 hours of a course, and then they take an exam. They pass that exam, and they can get dual credit. So they get college credit and high school credit.
Wow, man! My dad and I just had this conversation the other day about how valuable would it be. You know, I had a good friend of mine, shout out Jason and Shelley Brown, their daughter walked across the stage last year with an associate's degree and a high school diploma.
Right.
You know, now I don't have a degree. Right now, I've always been very fortunate enough that I have a great mouth. You know,
Sure.
So I've always been in sales, but I was telling my dad, I was like, man, the jobs that I could have had with the success that I've had without a degree, it's like now I think that degree would have taken me a different direction and I would have never been this guy. But it's like, man, like there's times like, I recently left the insurance business after 20 years, and I had really no plans or anything, but I noticed that once I did, just kind of stick my head out there and look, it's like, oh man, you get out of small town America and boy, hey, listen, you do need a degree.
Sure.
Now, I hadn't interviewed for a job in 20 years, so I didn't know that, or actually longer than that.
Or you need a trade.
Or you need a trade, yeah. And my trade was sales,
Sure.
But even that degree or that certificate or that you could, anything that validates that you can do something,
Right.
Yep. All I had was experience, which,
Right.
that's at the end of the day, that's a very important one. But boy, I didn't have anything that says I was taught by this person.
Sure.
And I just see how valuable and it's taken me. I was anti-education, Taylor, for years because I just didn't do anything in high school. And that's nobody's fault but mine.
Sure.
Right? I'm sure you kind of went through a little bit of this. You were good with people, and a lot of teachers just help you out. I mean, it's just the way it was back then,
Sure.
right? I mean, it's just a different ball game. And just at this age, man, I cannot stress how important that would have been for me, And I really hope that a lot of these kids, which it seems, just from the social media stuff that I see of my buddies and their children, it seems like this is a really big thing coming out. Like,
Sure.
No, my gosh, Buckeye Hills is how old? 50 years old, probably.
It is about 50 years.
So, it's not like this just got here.
Right.
But I think that they're seeing the importance because whenever that first started out, what was the classes? What was it?
A lot of them were the same. They had the welding, ag diesel, cosmetology has been around a long time.
Okay.
A lot of the health classes have been around a long time.
Okay.
My dad graduated there in 1979 through Ag Diesel.
Okay.
And then he was on early job placement through the family farm, which is a
Yeah.
dairy farm.
Yeah.
Then my brother, he graduated Buckeye Hills in 2000.
Okay.
He did early job placement as well. He worked either on a farm, and then he did a stint over at Smith Sawmill.
Okay.
And then, I mean, that opened doors for him. He went over there and he got a Class A CDL, and he drove a chip truck. 19, 20 years old, he ran two loads to Columbus a day, 18-wheeler.
Hey,
270.
and I know everybody's like, that's not, hey, listen, I mean, I've been in some hairy business situations. There ain't nothing hairier than High Street with 18 wheels under you.
Right.
I mean, that is a whole other, I worked in the mines, right out of high school. And I mean, there's nothing any more stressful than hanging off of a 200-foot wall with a 100-ton piece of equipment.
Sure.
Those lessons were just tremendous for me.
Yep.
And you talked about job placement. I know, you're joking around about your dad, but, how many, I can't even fathom how many calls you guys probably get for people looking like, hey, did you have this? Did you have a good student in, broadband, or we're looking for a guy down here at the local cable show or whatever, How many of those calls or how many of those inquiries do you get a week?
Well, we have full-time job placement coordinator.
You at the school, right there at the center.
Right.
You have a full-time job placement coordinator.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yep.
So that person's job is to seek jobs for graduates.
It's partnerships. So he's going out making partnerships with industry.
That will hire your people.
Yes. Yep.
Even better. Kind of like a distributor.
Right.
Okay. So how successful has that been?
Oh, I think last year, by the time we got to our certificate ceremony, we had 160 seniors out. And within that time period of that senior year, they had generated like $1.2 million in income.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. What is some of the give me a success story with that? Like I'm sure some people. You've been down there almost 15 years now. I'm sure you've seen guys that come out and either go be a jet engine mechanic or I'm sure or
Well, I mean, the welding program, and we see kids coming out of there, and we've had them base salary as a senior in high school, $80,000
coming out of high school. Okay, let's talk about this again. Coming out of high school, 18 years old. Okay, barely got hair under your arms, or if whatever, but 18 years old. Based on their skill, or is that just all welders at that? I mean,
that's top tier.
That's top tier.
Yeah,
$80,000, and that's probably a tip of what like those people probably then move into underwater welding and just different things that are just crazy money after that.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure how many people do you know, or like how many success stories have you seen where now you're starting to see these guys now that were there, now they've got kids, I'm sure. Now that you've watched them grow their families, I mean, those skills have provided for them and their families.
Right.
I mean, well, your brother, your brother's a prime example.
Sure.
I mean, he has built, a very large excavating / I can say construction, probably a little bit, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Some.
Primarily dirt work.
Yeah.
A lot of site prep work.
Easily over $1 million company. I don't even know the guy.
12, 15 guys.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably tens of millions or 10 millions easy,
I try not to get too.
Yeah, you don't want to get in the weeds with that,
but
but I'm just saying, like, hey, don't get it twisted. In order to get zeros, you got to be in zeros,
right? Right.
Yeah. And I mean, I've learned that kind of the hard way. Like, if you're going to sell something with some zeros behind it.
Right.
If you're going to do something with some zeros behind it.
Sure.
I kind of learned that in a lot of different facets of life. But I mean, you are not going to make a ton of money if there's not a ton of money in that world.
Right.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, that's, like I said, your brother's a prime example. I mean, he's just taking it and run with it. I can give you probably 50 off the top of my head of guys I know that went down there. A guy that does a ton of work on my stuff, he's been one of my, I shouldn't say best friend, but one of a great friend of mine since I was probably in the 6th grade. He went down there. Now he's a successful mechanic, got his own shop.
Sure.
I mean, just just great stuff, man. I just,
Right.
Cosmetology, and we haven't even talked about that. I mean,
Right.
how many of these people have that they've just immediately been able to go into a job right out of high school,
Right.
And that's so important in Southern Ohio with the, I mean, and I know you see it. I mean, I'm not dogging the area, but, we are very low income down here.
Sure.
I think, what are we, the second poorest or third poorest in the state? We're top 5 poorest in the state. As far as, aren't we? It doesn't go Vinton, Meg's.
Yeah. We're all Appalachians.
And it's this area down here.
Right.
Yeah, there's no line.
And that's what we found. You initiate the hiring process to where they can break some of those family cycles of poverty. Get them out, let them know what they're worth, get them working. So
do you see that change a lot of the mindset of people?
Yeah, I think so. Because we all become like products of what we're raised into.
Yeah.
We try to do a little better than mom and pop, but for the most part, we get content, we get complacent in where we're at, and they come down there, we get them credentialed up, and then try to initiate the hiring process and get them out, get them working, and show them what they're worth.
Yeah.
Based off their skill sets and the credentials that they hold.
They probably get to do a ton of job shadowing.
Mostly it's them working in those labs, developing the skills that they need, and then those instructors can vouch for them. Say, hey, yeah, they can do the job. They show up, they're drugs free, and they're going to be an asset for your company. So that means a lot once you develop those partnerships.
Yeah, yeah. I just think that's amazing what you guys do, and I'm tickled to death that they have that down here in this area, along with that. What do I call it? You call it CCP.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I always thought that was like college career something. I don't know what I thought that was, but
college credit plus.
It's college credit plus. But there again, I think anytime it's when it comes to education, it's just my 2 cents. But I mean, I really I'm not saying that they have to pick a career. I mean, heck, look at me. I just walked away from one, a 20-year one. And, I think careers change, right?
Sure.
I mean, you've had a couple of different careers.
Sure.
You were in, the excavation world, and then you're in the education world. But I think that a 5-year plan coming out of high school was very, very crucial. And because that 5-year window right there, I was a guy that spent that time period really just kind of clueless. Just didn't know, had no idea where it was headed. Got out of high school and thought, well, okay, this is it, I guess. I think that if they can have some like just true goals within that 5-year period,
Sure.
Are you seeing that? I mean, what's some of the things you're seeing that out of these ones that are being successful? What do they do differently?
Well, one of the things that we're really trying to push is doing the age appropriate transition assessments, and
Tell me about that.
so just we have what they call career coaches, job coaches that go into the middle school and work with kids, kind of give them exposure to different careers. What's it take to obtain that job or that career, and what are they good at? What's their personality fit with? Just try to get them plugged in. Try to point them in the right direction.
And then through your full-time career placement person, what'd you call them?
Job placement coordinator.
Job placement coordinator. They probably work hand in hand with, okay, and then now we're going to shuffle them. We're going to give them the opportunity.
Sure.
Right.
What?
How do you set something up to manage that person to where they don't fall off or, as the new term goes, crash out a year out?
Of high school?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're an adult. There's not a whole lot they're going to do.
Sure.
I think that's just done through relationships.
Well, I mean, even, we'll take cosmetology, for example. So young lady goes into cosmetology and she has an avenue for income where she's able to actually work herself through college for another career. And we see that quite a bit.
Yeah.
They'll get in and they'll use their credentials and their licensure for cosmetology to maybe go into nursing. But they have an income. They can do hair, cut hair, dye hair.
I think
do
that's
nails.
I think that's how Fab D. I'm not 100% sure Fab D didn't even go to Buckeye Hills. She might have, but
I'm not sure.
But I mean, heck, she's an author.
Right.
You know, I mean, she's an author. She started off in cosmetology as a hairdresser. Yeah. What a great just basically you're just teeing it up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, you're just that's a great way of looking at it. You're just teeing these kids up for just hey, it's yours.
Right.
You know, and that's you know, I think you could say back 20 years ago. You know, I'm 44. You're 42, right?
Yeah, I'll be
44.
I'll be 42 in July. So
yeah, you'll be 42 in July. Yeah. So I just got Jimmy Jones on here talking about my socks. Hey, these are wool, nice warm socks, Jimmy. So, geez, you should get you a pair, Jimmy. But where was I going with that? Jimmy's text interrupted me. So 42, 44. Oh, 20 years ago, you and I, maybe you did, but he's wearing me out now. You didn't have, in my opinion, and I think a lot of this is due to the internet, but you didn't have like you remember how hard it was. I'm sure you remember, but like I tried to get one time whenever I was like 20, I tried to get in the operators union. Like, do you remember like it was so like mystical. Like you had no idea how to actually do any of that stuff.
Right.
You know, and I like with you guys, if I would have known what I know now, you know, or I'd have been around people that did, you know, you were doing the same thing back then, but even back then, what a great way that could have, you know, just like it did for your brother, teed somebody up.
Sure.
But I mean, now I'd say you're at the cutting edge, especially if you're doing internet and broadband and stuff like that. I'm sure you have great stuff, right?
Right.
You know, and you got people in house. Whenever something goes wrong in the school, do you use your own people? Sometimes,
yeah.
I'm sure you do. Yeah, we used them to build the Apple Festival. Yep. Whenever I was in Jaffe, they did the Apple Festival up there. We'd bring those kids in. Boom! I mean, what a great thing that was.
Sure.
They got credit hours for it. I was heard the other day too that kids have to have, what is it? How many credit hours do they have to have of community service?
It kind of varies. I think it's 15 per year through high school, so a total of 60. I think that's what Jackson's running right now.
So, like, give me an example for your kids. What are you going to make them do? Or not make them, but what are they going to do?
I'll give you my son. My oldest son's a freshman, so he's going to be able to count at church. He does the projector, and he'll run the PowerPoints, and you know, they do a live stream on the radio, so he'll function those cameras, and so he does it about every week. So he's gaining about an hour.
So he'll get those. For that. So,
yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's across the board. They do all kinds of stuff to gain community. I don't want to say community service hours, service learning hours, I think is what they call them.
Is that what, yeah. I always just, you know, looked at that, you know, if you had community service hours, you did something bad.
Right.
You know, I think I had to do it one time I either got a speeding ticket and they traded it out, or I don't know. But the judge, they used to do that, right? Am I imagining that like they'd say, okay, no fine, but 10 hours community service.
Sure.
You know. So I'd have to sweep the high school at the end of the night for a couple hours. Yeah. Dude, what I did was horrible. I was just not a great student at all. And I wish that I would have been. That's really one of my number one regrets. It's because, like, I don't think the teachers really cared. I mean, they got 30 other kids, right? I mean, if I want to be an idiot, then go be an idiot. But, like, you know, none of those teachers, I had some good teachers. I'm not going to say I didn't, but, like, none of them really, like, did I have that, like, man, it really changed my life, right?
Sure.
Like, I can't really say that. I loved them all, and I got along great with them all, but, like, none of them was I like, oh, my gosh, my mind is just, but there again, I think a lot of it, my mind was spinning all the time. I wish that I would have, you know, looking back at that stuff now, how important it is to get the basics of studying, get the basics of reading. I could read, you know, but I mean, man, for me to sit down and read a book is just takes me forever. Like I have to read that page a couple times maybe, or something a couple times. Where like my wife, somebody that really took education serious, you know, she's a teacher as well. Boy, she can just read it once. Now I can hear it once.
Sure.
You know, I've do that with songs all the time. I can
Right.
hear it, man. I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
But reading is just something I really struggled with. Do you see a lot of kids that struggle to learn down there? I'm sure you do. I'm sure it's no different than any other high school. You know, I think there's this like, and I probably shouldn't even talk about this, but I'm sure there's some imagery or like thought process of when kids go down there, they just come down there they love it every day. And I'm sure that's not the case.
It's not the case for all of them, but I mean, for a lot of them, that's their best chance. I mean, across the boards is the hands-on learning components that they get. And we're, even every year we try to work to make everything they do a little more applicable to their pathway.
Is that done through, what's the term? Is that IED or what is the
IEP process?
IEP? Yeah, whatever. Yeah, is that kind of done through that? Because what does that stand for? My wife talks about them all the time.
Individual education plan.
And isn't that kind of the purpose of an IEP, an individual?
So
individual
the purpose of the IEP, that's going to give you specially designed instruction. So if you have problems learning, let's say the math in the general education setting, you can get that specially designed
Tweaked.
instruction. Yeah. And you'll have an intervention specialist come in and maybe present it to you in a little different manner than what the gen ed teacher had.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, I'm a hard guy to follow.
Right. Right.
There's a lot of people like that.
Sure.
That just, in my opinion, I mean, I can tell you, I know a few of these people that are teachers, and I'd love to go sit in their class. I don't know how they do it.
Right.
Because they just are just monotone, and I'm sure, I'm not saying they're bad teachers, but that's not a one size fits all category, right?
Sure.
Like
Right.
teaching, everybody learns differently.
Right. Absolutely.
So that IEP then, and I think sometimes I think you and I can talk about this, but I think that kind of gets a bad rap, like it's your kid's not maybe doing so well when really it's just a different style of teaching. Like
Sure.
it's kind of like left side, right side,
Right.
right?
Yeah, and then, I mean, just because you're not a fluent reader don't mean you're not going to be the top welder in the class.
Sure.
So, or mechanic. I mean, mechanics is a thing. You can take a kid with a 4.0 and he can't hang with some of those guys that, are mechanically inclined or, was busting knuckles with dad out in the garage since he was 7-8 years old.
Scott Massey, Geiger Brothers, talks about that with us all the time. Every time he's on the show, like, hey, if you see your kid like tinkering with stuff all the time, like, that's a kid that's probably pretty mechanical.
Right.
And their mind just works that way.
Sure.
And you and I have had buddies that can't walk and chew bubble gum at the same time, but can flat bulletproof a 6.0.
Sure.
And, I mean, just they are freaks about it, right?
Right.
I mean,
Yep.
it's unbelievable how that works. And, just because somebody wasn't book smart doesn't mean that they don't have a gift of some kind.
Right.
I had a boss who used to tell us that all the time. He said, everybody's great at one thing. Every person you meet is great at one thing.
Sure.
You just got to find it.
Right.
That's how he'd tell us. He'd say, find out what they're great at.
Right. Well, and the biggest thing is you got to give them opportunities
Yeah.
to figure it out.
Yeah.
If they're willing to show up and work, that's half the battle.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's great, man. Just keep doing what you're doing. I'm glad you're down there. Like that makes me feel good. After I got a chance to
Sure.
hang out with you some
Sure.
stuff, it's like, hey man, Taylor really cares. Like there's been many days that you have canceled going mountain biking on me so you could go do something at work.
Sure.
Like you really, like you're a teacher that really puts a lot, and you put a lot into your family too.
Sure.
I mean, you're the same way with your kids. But I miss biking, Taylor. Not to change it up too much. But
We're getting there.
yeah. So tell me your. So I went with you over Christmas break, and we went to Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we just happened. Our families were there at the same time.
Right.
You and I may have had some preconceived planning there,
Right.
on when we were going to Gatlinburg. But so I went to Pigeon Forge. You were down in there somewhere.
Yep.
And we met up and we went to the wild side. So first of all, what did you think about the wild side?
I loved it.
Loved it. Okay.
stuff, yeah.
So the wild side was it's a brand new facility down there. It has side by side rentals, mountain bike rentals. Looked like they were putting in maybe a zip line, some stuff like that. I don't know. You
Right.
got to check their website, do all that stuff. But like it's an outdoor adventure park,
Right.
and that was your first downhill mountain bike experience. So let's just talk about the mountain biking. You got into mountain biking a year ago. Why? Hey, Chubbies. Let's talk about a sponsor that came to us about a year ago, and it's been nothing but smooth sailing ever since, just like it is in their business. And that sponsor is the Kelly Wiley Group of the Keller Williams Capital Partners. You know, the market has now shifted for sellers, and now more than ever, experienced professionalism actually matter. Gone are the days when the agents can just snap some pics with their phone and pop a sign in the yard. Sellers actually deserve more than that. Whether you're selling a $100,000 home or $1 million home, you'll get Kelly Wiley. You'll get Kelly Wiley, an agent that you can trust with more than 16 years of experience and more than 1,500 transactions. Kelly will answer your questions, she'll reduce your stress levels, and she'll help guide you through what we all know is a lengthy process. You get professional photography, you get FAA licensed drone pilots, and you get an in-house marketing team to make your home look amazing to the future buyers. You get a full staff of transaction professionals to make sure that your transaction goes smooth from the beginning to the end. You get reach. They have 3 MLSs to reach out more and more agents, and they can find your house quicker and easier now than ever through those MLSs. And you get a referral network of more than 160,000 Keller Williams agents across the United States to send buyers to see your home. You just can't beat it, guys. These are the reasons why the Kelly Wiley Group is the #1 team in the area. If you want your home sold for the right price and for the highest price possible in the shortest amount of time, guys, call Kelly Wiley today at 740-577-3795. I'm going to say it to you again. If you want your home sold for the highest priced in the shortest amount of time, it's a great deal for everybody. Give Kelly Wiley a call at 740-577-3795, and let's get that listing.
Well, I'll be honest with you. Joe Finch came down, and you can't talk to Joe Finch without talking about biking to some degree. Mountain biking, road biking, and he'd have the bike in the back of the truck. And then I got a sister and a brother-in-law that are into biking as well.
That's right.
As we get older, we got to do something.
You've stayed active. You've always been a weightlifter. Yeah. I got to look at you. You've always been big and strong. And did you jog?
Never been much of a jog. I mean, I went through periods where I have ran
Sure.
on the treadmill. And actually last winter I was running on the treadmill some. Not any kind of distance, just trying to get that mile time down basically.
Yeah. Burn some fat.
Yeah.
Cardio stuff.
Yeah. Trying to get the heart rate up. But
and that sucks the older we get, right?
It does.
I'll agree with that. So you found biking. And because of all of them, you decided to give it a try. And tell me about, so how did you try it is what I want to know. How did you try this out?
So I just went and bought a bike. I got on Marketplace, went down Huntington, West Virginia.
That was your first bike? The Salsa?
Picked up a used Salsa.
Okay.
Looked like brand new. I don't think it'd been out of the garage.
No, great shape Salsa. Great shape.
On the way home with that bike, stopped by Rio's Trails down there.
Okay.
The Gateway Trail System.
Uh-huh.
And tried it out.
How many miles did you have first trip?
Less than 5.
Yeah.
The seat was bothering me.
Yeah.
I hadn't adjusted the seat, the tilt of the seat, the height of the seat, or any of that. So I just went out and just about died. Yeah.
Within a half hour, 20 minutes. 20 minutes to half hour, you was done.
Right. And it was rough, but I knew I was going to like it if I stuck with it. So.
Very similar experience. Mine was several years ago, but very, 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 very similar. Started off on a bike almost identical to yours. Okay, so then let's talk about the advancements, because you are nowhere near where you were.
Sure.
Okay, so I mean, you've gotten tremendously better. Okay, let's talk about the advancements. So you bought a hardtail, no dropper, which means the seat, guys are starting to kind of figure this out now,
Right.
so seats drop and raise. So you bought a hardtail, no full suspension, just front.
Mm-hmm.
And then you tried to tackle the Ohio woods. And what happened?
I'll give it my best shot.
Was bike holding up though?
No, the bike wasn't holding up. I had to learn a lot about when to shift, when's the right time to shift.
Yeah.
I was trying to downshift like in the old Mack truck.
And just hit it hard.
Grab a gear on the hill and
No.
couldn't do that. So chain and cassette didn't like that.
That's what finished it off
tactic,
with you, wasn't it?
Yeah, I still got to get that thing fixed.
Other than that, it held.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
I mean, the Salsa I got. It's a higher end bike.
It is. Yeah, I mean, it's still a $1,500 bike.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what my point with all that is, what did I keep telling you? And everybody else, not just me.
Right.
That
got to get them components.
there's a few things that if you're going to tackle this section down in here that you just got to have, right?
Right.
Would you agree with that now?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, so now you've really biked up.
Yeah.
I always forget how how nice of a bike you have now because I really haven't got a chance to ride that much with it.
Sure.
So you then biked up and now you're ripping downhill. So we go to Wildside and you get your first downhill. So you biked with us all summer. So you've done your fair amount. You just never went to a downhill park.
Sure.
So you go to this downhill park where they shuttle you up to the top. And, I had my son with me, so I didn't really get a chance to really get out there with you and
Sure.
do what I wanted to do. But thanks for going with us, by the way.
That was a good time.
Good time, yeah. I just wanted to make sure my son didn't die. If I'd have brought him home bruised up to mommy, it would have been a long trip.
Right.
So tell me about it. What did you think?
Loved it. So when we first started talking about biking down there, I didn't realize it was a downhill only park. So I was kind of excited about the opportunity to get an e-bike out there.
To pedal.
To do the, yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
at that point in the season, I'm going to be out of shape. So I'm thinking, well, e-bike, that'll
Yeah.
help compensate
Sure.
the lack of biking I've done over the last couple months. So,
Yeah.
of course, then we get down and it's just strictly downhill. So
Yeah. Didn't need the e-bike whatsoever.
no,
Didn't even have to pedal.
nope,
Takes you right to the top and
just
right
hang
there.
on. Yep.
How fast was it? I never got to experience.
They were pretty fast. Of course, we didn't go any on Black Diamonds.
We did a couple of the blues.
We did the blues.
And me and Gibb stayed and did about
Yeah.
all that I could.
Yeah, I probably would have done some Black Diamonds
Well, yeah, if you'd have
if I was
stayed.
there on my own. Yeah,
I don't think any of them would have been bad,
And I'm not a jump guy, so I keep everything on the ground.
but it's fast, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I wish I was good at that. Yeah. We're going to have to go back.
yeah. And I still haven't tried. Was it snowshoe?
Snowshoes where to go.
So
Yeah.
it's on the bucket list.
I'm going to do a lot this year. I bought Gibb that bike, and I hope you can get one of your sons into it.
Sure.
Because I tell you, I love going with Gibb. Like Gibbs, we talked about in the beginning of this pod, we talked about just kind of the suffer. Now, I got him an e-bike. He's not suffering.
Right.
However, he is at those downhill parks, like, you can, as a young man, you can learn a little bit. That's kind of
Sure.
like running equipment, isn't it?
Sure.
Like, I think four-wheelers, dirt bikes, all that stuff, like, as they learn how to operate those and just go at speeds, I think you'll teach them a lot just about even driving. So whenever they get their license,
Sure.
They'll be better. They'll
Oh, yeah.
understand, have a depth perception, I guess.
Right. Yeah, there's definitely something to say about growing up around equipment, four-wheelers, dirt bikes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything with a motor, you're learning
Something.
how to control something.
You either learn how to get hurt or not get hurt.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah. So you think you're going to stick with the bike, and I feel
I
like
think
you are.
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I haven't got out in the cold and
Me neither.
and suited up and did all that. I like to be comfortable.
Me too.
But
Thad and Joe are savages.
oh yeah, Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. Those guys are the absolute pioneers. Not that anybody would ever say anything, but like if you're a non-biker and you see us bikers, you're like, those guys are ridiculous. Listen,
Tony Thorne's in
Tony
that
Thorne,
category.
that whole crew right there are savages.
Yep.
They are the pioneers of biking around here. Like,
Right.
If you have a question, ask them.
I'm doing the stationary bike up at the Planet Fitness right now. So,
Are you?
Yeah.
You know, I did it at the Marriott over the weekend. I didn't like it. I like the treadmill better.
Sure. Yeah. I still like the bikes better than the treadmill, but turning that resistance up, getting them legs burning.
Is it Peloton?
I think they have some Pelotons up there. What I'm using isn't a Peloton though.
Matrix?
I have no idea.
Don't know. A lot of it is what kind of terrain they have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like what kind of courses you can ride.
Sure.
Yeah. This one I had was like Sweden. You know, like I don't give a care
Right.
about Sweden. You know, take me through the Rockies or something. You know, see some grizzlies.
Right.
You know, so it does that. You can pedal and all that. Does it like whenever you go up on the knolls and stuff? You can feel it.
No, it doesn't have a screen. It's just the resistance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm watching the ESPN Sports Center there
Okay.
while I'm pedaling.
Oh, Jolly. You know Jolly? Have you rode? You never rode with Jolly? He's been on the pod.
I don't think so.
Jolly's one of those guys. He does bike. He does mountain biking. But he's like you. He stays in shape all the time. He's got. I think his is a Peloton. And he's got this. What's some spin classes he does?
Yeah,
And he'll do the spin class right there on the screen with like on the machine.
Okay.
Then he'll bike through. I got another buddy that does the gravel rides, and he'll ride 60 miles on a course, and they'll change like as the course change.
Okay.
So like that course is programmed. Those aren't bad, but I just walk through them. I don't like to do the stationary bike feels weird to me. I think it's because it's a hardtail.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm used to that
Right.
give,
Little cushion.
and it's weird for me.
Sure.
I'm not saying I can't do it. I'm just saying it's weird.
Yep.
Huh? Do you like the full suspension?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big difference in
Oh, yeah.
it. Yeah. Yeah. What do you think about? Give me your overall opinion on because I know where it's going. What do you think of this local? And I mean, Rio Grande, for example, Lake Hope. You've been there. You've been to Great Seal.
I haven't been to Great Seal.
I thought I took you there one time. You've been to Meeks. Did you go to Meeks with us in West Virginia? You did not.
I have not.
Uh,
Been to the one up at Columbus.
Alum Creek.
Alum Creek.
Yep, you had the bad wreck there.
Phase 2. Yeah.
Yep. Gotcha.
Tried to get some air up
Me
there.
and you got
Didn't
stuck
work.
in that storm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
we rode back. We had to ride the roads back. How far do you think it was? 3 miles?
Probably at least.
Yeah, felt like 100. That
Right,
was the
right.
hardest rain I've ever seen
It
in
was.
my life.
Yep. Yep. I thought I was going to get hit by a car.
How we didn't, I'll never know because they couldn't see it.
They couldn't see us. No.
Yeah, that sucked. That sucked bad. I forgot about that, Taylor. Yeah, and you were beat. You'd had a bad wreck.
Oh yeah. Yep. Had the skin off my elbow and
Yeah, literally
arm.
bled all over the place at dinner.
yeah.
I tell people like, listen, I'm gonna bring them home bloody. Like
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
mean to, but they are gonna wreck.
So yeah, I keep it on the ground now.
Yeah, Thad and Joe and those guys, man, they mainly ride Rio Grande, and that's the thing about we was talking. Let's talk about this area, before we wrap it up. But as just you're just a local guy, just like me, right? You're just a down to earth dude that just loves being outside, and you do like to kind of stay in shape and have some fun and
Sure.
all that stuff. You like to be able to move, right? Well, mountain biking in Rio Grande down there, how nice has that been for you just to go down to Rio Grande, 10 miles down the road? Well, you work down there.
Yeah, just right over the hill.
Yeah, but how nice is that trail system?
Oh, it's awesome.
I mean, unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah.
And like that and Joe and those guys, they ride down there, and that's tremendous, because they keep that place in check all the time. They keep it in good shape. Matt Easter and those guys, I mean, what a community that they've got. What about, you said you've been to, I know you've been to Lake Hope with me. What do you think about, I'm saying like, we're very fortunate to have this, right?
Sure.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I wanted to get at.
We got Athens
Bailey's.
Bailey's trail system
Yeah,
up there.
you went to you did 30 miles with us at Bailey's.
Yeah.
That was a rough day.
It was a rough day. We ran out of water. That's what.
Oh, you took your preacher.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a bad day. I bet he walked his bike 10 miles that, didn't he?
So
I felt bad about that. But you knew. I told you what we was
right.
going to do.
Yeah. You said it. You said at least 25. So
Yeah. And you guys, oh my goodness. I mean, like, I don't know how he did it.
So
That day, how you felt at 5 miles, that's how he felt.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew he did. I knew it was going to hurt him.
It was hot. I don't know. It was at 90-some degrees.
Oh, it's horrible. Couldn't have been worse.
Ran out of water.
Yeah.
Water fountain didn't work.
But that's how fun it is. You and I have about got killed on Route 670 up there by, or wherever that was, driving in the rain. You know, this guy literally had to walk his bike out probably 10 miles, didn't he? I don't know how much he rode. I'm sure he rode down the downhill part, but I mean, he walked his bike a lot.
Sure.
You know, I don't know how much. Long day.
Right.
Okay. You wrecked at Alum Creek. Bad wreck, skin. I mean, to the point where you have no skin, right? And you still keep coming back. That's why I try to tell people it's that fun, isn't it?
Sure, it is. It's a blast. It's hard work, good workout, but I mean,
It doesn't have to be.
There's little downhill segments, or you know.
Yeah. Now, if you go some of these places, you know, not just your average bear is going to go tackle Great Seal.
Sure.
You know, not that it's so rough to ride. It's just it's a lot of hill.
Right.
You know, it's going to burn you up pretty quick.
Right. And I mean, I'm 250 pounds, so.
Yeah. Are you really?
Yeah.
You're 250.
Doing hills is something I'll have to build back up to, you know, as we progress through the season. So won't be starting out with Great Seal this spring.
Yeah. Or do you?
We'll work our way up to it.
Yeah. Or do you? You know? Yeah. I don't know. What else you want to talk about, Taylor? You done?
That's up to you.
It's up to you, bud. We usually try to go an hour.
How much time we been on?
Hour and 6 minutes. You've been on you probably weren't on the first 10 minutes. That'll get you, I think. It's that other camera, but
Gotcha.
no big deal. Yeah, man. We're still going to try to get down to Tennessee. We talked about that. So we'll hook up down there and ride. I'd say we got at least 2 months before we're riding.
Right.
But
get the trails back in good shape.
I meant to go down and help Matt. He had a work party down there a couple weeks ago. I tried to get down there.
I believe they've added some segments.
Something happened.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. I need to
little property dispute, maybe some hunters
with the school.
Yeah, hunters inherited some land, and they've I think they've shut part of the trail right
Which
there.
side?
So that's going to be on the Rio side there at the power line. So you're familiar with the gate to gate segment.
Well, I know.
So if you remember when we all went down there, I think there was 5 or 6 of us.
we went with Dad
And
Joe.
then Joe had to walk his bike out, and I let mine out.
Yep.
When we was up at that gate, so that would be
Okay, I know where that gate is.
everything from that power line clearing up to that gate is no more, from what I'm hearing. So
Okay,
but they're doing some rerouting of the trails to work around it.
but we can still go on the other side of the power line. And
Yeah.
play over in there. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything on the right side of the power line. You just can't cut around that ridge to get to it.
Right.
No, that ain't a big deal.
So
Yeah, that won't affect that place a bit.
yeah.
No, that place is perfect. I mean, in my opinion, look at Columbus. Columbus, you know, that's why I tell people how fortunate we are, is because, you know, Columbus has Alum Creek.
Yeah.
You rode it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay.
It's all right.
Yeah, but it's no Rio, is it?
No.
Those people would think Rio's Red Bull commercial
Sure.
compared to.
And I did the 18 miles down there at Rio when they did what they call it, the crazy chicken, flying chicken.
Flying chicken, yeah.
Flying chicken.
Yeah.
So I should have done the 9.
Yeah. Or been ready.
Yeah.
You got 18, and you did 25 with us at Bailey's. Rio's tougher than Bailey's.
Yeah. I finished, but I should have done the 9.
Oh, man, they do a great job, dude. I love it down there.
Yep.
We're just very fortunate to have that, and Bailey's and Lake Hope. I always forget about Bailey's. There's another one over there too that I've never taken you to. Is I rode it after work a few times, called Cells.
Okay.
Goes around Strouds.
Okay.
Great. I mean, it's about like Bailey's kind of. I mean, it's not as good as, it's not as well taken care of as Bailey's for mountain bikes, but it's a nice trail. There's just so many places down Meeks Mountain's only it's within an hour and a half of here. So, I mean, it's real close. You got Chestnut Ridge, Rio. Paint Creek's got 30 miles of trails. Cider Trails has got probably 20-some miles of trails that we've never even touched.
Right.
You know, we don't have to.
Sure.
Yeah, there's a ton of it's a great if you like fishing and things like that. You know, there's not that they're comparative, but I'm saying there's way more places to mountain bike than there is to fish close.
Sure.
Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you got the river, which is
Sure.
a great place no matter what,
Right.
but it's about all you got.
Right.
Paint Creek, but I mean, we don't go that far. We don't go 2 hours away,
No.
and never have to ride the same place more than twice a year, really.
Right. Well, we're on our local trails. I mean, we're running into guys coming down from Columbus and all over.
Everywhere. That's right. Yep, I agree. So I try to get everybody into it.
Sure.
I think they should all like it. But
Well, I mean, I think it's one of those things where, you know, I never envisioned myself as a biker until, you know, tried it out and good stuff.
yeah. I don't know how Thad and Joe knows guys. They ride them single speeds. There's people that love to suffer. I don't know what it is. Thad and Joe are those guys.
Right.
They want it as hard as you can give it to. It's like, Joe, you're 60-something. It's like, you know. But they want it as hard and as brutal as they can get. They just love the suck of it, I think.
Yeah.
Sometimes. They love the cycling, but I mean they truly love the just truest form. They're like old vintage car collectors.
Right.
You know, which is just savage. That's why all of them's thighs look like that chair right there.
Right.
So, I mean, and they'll bail you out. I mean, that daggone Thad, I didn't know until that day, he's basically a bike mechanic.
Yeah.
He had that bike took apart in 30 seconds. You
Sure.
see that?
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, here. That's what he's doing. Why wouldn't he? Yeah. So, yeah, those guys are fun. I wish I biked with them more. But Rio's just one of those places on the weekends I don't get to. You know, it's usually they ride there in the mornings and I ride there in the evenings, and I just never get to ride with them. But we're gonna ride a bunch this summer. I'm excited for Gibb, and we're gonna do it.
Yep.
So,
Be good.
yep. Anything else? Shout out David Gillum. He's into it now too.
Is he?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
He bought my old bike off Rosler.
Okay.
Was you with us with Roz?
I don't think I've ever rode with him.
Me and Jenkins took Roz on a trip similar. It was a 10-15 miler, and then my buddy Travis Poe the following week broke his leg biking, and Roz said, I'm out. He said, so David bought his stuff.
Is that right?
Yep. He's got Trek Top Fuel. It was the bike I had for my e-bike.
Yeah.
Great bike. I took him to Bailey's, took him on a 7-mile trip. He was, I wish that, and I bet you would too, and I need to tell David this. I wish I would have went to Bailey's before I would have went to Rio. Rio's a tough one at first.
Sure.
Can be.
It can be. If you get on that left side, get up on the ridge, and you can.
Up
you
there's
can pretty
fine.
much- yeah.
Yeah, but getting to that ridge is tough.
It can be. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a brutal thing. Where Bailey's, you're going to get in, get your feet, you're going to get a
Right.
little warm up.
Right.
You know.
Took my wife up to Bailey's.
Did you? How'd
Yeah.
she do?
She said it's not her thing.
Yeah, that's cool.
So she gets so nervous,
My wife
thinking
would too.
she's going to hit a root or a tree or go over the hill or something. So
And she bikes though, doesn't she? She road bikes.
she'd rather ride on the road.
Okay.
She likes the road bike.
Yeah.
So
That's the way my wife is. She likes the road. She likes bike paths.
of course I'd rather hit a tree than get hit by a car.
I like bike paths.
Yeah.
I don't like traffic bikes.
Right.
Not down here. Columbus, they got you a bike lane, you're good. But
Right.
here, nah.
Right.
I don't like dogs. I love dogs, but
Right,
man,
right.
they're tough on a bike.
Oh yeah.
I got cornered by about 4 of them out there one time on Lake Catherine Road on my road bike, and I mean that sucked.
Yeah.
I mean they had me.
Right.
They come out in the road, and there was 4 of them, and I remember just holding my bike. They weren't like, but I mean they were from a distance, but
Right.
like, and then I just backed up, and finally I got out of their space.
Sure.
But it was like, oh my gosh! And I didn't have any air horn or, typically if you got an air horn or pepper spray or something, you can
Right.
spray a little bit of that out and they'll take
Right.
off. But yeah, that one woman got her daggone leg gnawed off.
That's what you told me up at Lake Hope.
Moonville.
Okay.
It was near Lake Hope in Moonville, it's the same area. Yeah, but yeah, shoot her daggone leg off, bud. That's I don't want that.
No.
Pit. It was a pit.
Mm.
Did it, but oh well. Not oh well, but you know, I mean,
Right.
I don't know how, you know,
Gotta
whatever.
be careful.
You just gotta be careful. So, all right, well, you gonna come back see us?
Absolutely.
First podcast?
Sure.
Good job, man. All right. Hey, Jared Taylor. See you.